growthy. DJ does Point of Inquiry, which is a great, fairly academic, very good podcast. And he actually goes to college campuses and helps people get them started. It's fantastic. Great way to do this. And there are informal groups. You know, there's Skeptics in the Pub, Drinking Skeptically, where you can go out and get a bunch of people together and go to bars and talk about skepticism and stuff like that. It's wonderful. There's a lot of grassroots skepticism going on. It's only started recently. This is only years, and it's something that we at the JREF are really, really supportive of. Our meetings every year in Vegas have turned into a big community get-together. People are calling it the Woodstock of skepticism, and it's not what we meant to do. We meant it to be a skeptical gathering, but the fact that it's turned into a huge community support thing has been just terrific. Dr. Horrible's asking about Skeptologists. Skeptologists is a TV show that a bunch of us put together a couple of years ago. It was a pilot, and we have not gotten a network to buy it yet. We've come close a couple of times. We're still working on it. I'm still trying to help Ryan Johnson and Brian Dunning, who are the two guys spearheading this, trying to get it set up. We'll have news when we find out what's going on. We'll let everybody know. Don't worry. I saw a question here that I liked. Where did it? Scrolling back. Somebody asked about the JREF challenge. Oh, has anybody ever taken the Randi $1 Million Challenge? Okay, look, here's the deal. James Randi, years ago, has put up $1 million that if you can prove a claim of the paranormal, some sort of psychic power or something like that, under reasonably good conditions, under testable conditions, we will give you $1 million. That $1 million, one of the first things that people claim is the $1 million doesn't exist. The $1 million exists. It's in a Goldman Sachs account. Every month we put up a new statement from Goldman Sachs that says, here's the money. So when they claim that the money doesn't exist, it makes me laugh. It's like you guys are just grasping at straws. You're trying to...
Yeah, there was someone else I saw in a video. It wasn't Sylvia Brown, but it was another female supposed whatever you call these people that talk to the psychic or whatever, that talks to the dead, dark-haired lady who said exactly that she wasn't convinced that there was $1 million. I'm sorry, if you're going to question the integrity of James Randi or a con artist psychic, I know which I'm going to come down on.
Shame on you. That's arguing from authority.
It's arguing from a legal point of view.
The point is,
a basic knowledge
if somebody wants to question
fraudsters,
but that's not really evidence. That's just that's more of an opinion. But the point is, the money's in frickin' Goldman Sachs. What more do you want? They will send you. You can call them and talk to them on the phone, and they will say, yes, here's the $1 million. It exists. And so it's kind of silly for people to claim it doesn't exist. That's just a cop-out. But the money is there. You apply for this. You tell us what you can do. As long as we can assign a statistical probability to it. You can't just say something like, if I sit long enough, I have to go to the bathroom. That's silly. But if you can say, I can predict a coin toss with 90% accuracy, then we'll say, all right, sit down, we're going to toss a coin 100 times. And if you can predict it accurately 90 times in advance, statistically, that's huge. That's incredibly low probability.
I remember seeing a lecture. In fact, I have it on my video on my computer. A Randi lecture at Princeton 2001, in which he did say that you had preliminary tests. That is to say, you don't just accept any old thing, but the probability you narrow down to about 1,000 to 1 or something in your initial tests. Is that about right?
Right. So there are actually two tests to save everybody time and effort and to make sure that we don't get bilked. I mean, it's our money. You have to do a preliminary test, and that test statistically is set so that the odds of winning it just by random chance are 1 in 1,000. So, for example, we did a live challenge at our last amazing meeting in July in Vegas. We did this live with a woman named Connie Sona. She was Danish, and she said she could predict, using basically a dowsing technique by hanging a pendulum over cards, that she could predict what the card was to statistically significant odds. And so we arranged a protocol with her. It worked very well, and we had 3 different stacks of, basically 3 different packages of 10 cards each, and she had to pick the correct card 3 times in a row. That's 1 out of 10 each time, so it's 10 times 10 times 10 is 1,000. She had 1 in 1,000 odds of getting it right statistically. If she's a real psychic, then she could do it all 3 times, and she actually failed all 3 times. She did exactly what everybody does who honestly thinks they have psychic powers.
Well, this is an interesting point, and it's one that has puzzled me. Richard Dawkins did a program, it's not The Root of All Evil, it was the one that came out after that. In fact, I think I've got the video box behind me. But they tested water dowsers, these people, with the metal rods and everything, and after they had been shown to be completely incapable of doing what they said they could do, they all found some form of excuse to explain away why it didn't happen on that occasion or whatever. Now, what I find an interesting psychological question is whether these people actually genuinely believe that they have it. Because if they genuinely believe they have it, then they're possibly not dishonest. And it's the same with psychics. I suspect that some of them probably genuinely believe that they have these powers. Do you have any observations on that?
I think a lot of them do honestly believe they have powers. You can watch somebody like Sylvia Browne, John Edward, James Van Praagh, Uri Geller, these guys. And I think you can make a real case that they don't believe their powers are real. I'm not going to say whether these guys are con artists or not. I do believe they do not have psychic powers. But when it comes to dowsers and psychics, and women like Connie Sona, a lot of these people honestly think they have some sort of power. And most of this, and we test them, and of course they don't. And now, probably what's going on here is this idea that most people have, that we remember when we do something right, forget when we do something wrong. And so every time you say, I haven't heard from Hayden Panettiere for a while, and suddenly the phone rings and it's her. You say, oh, hello, Hayden. I must have psychic powers. And and I was just going to say, this is called the confirmation bias. Somebody just posted this in the
Yes, I call it breach of an injunction, but anyway.
There are a lot of names for it, but basically you're reinforcing the positives and diminishing the negative. You forget the 500 times that that didn't work, and remembering the one time it did. Same thing happens with dowsers, and the same thing happened with Ms. Donna when she was testing. She honestly thought she was going to be able to do it, and afterwards we had a press conference, and she kind of said, "Oh, hi, Hayden," and she said,
like that with her, she's such a,
"I know,
filthy scutter."
No, she has a lot of love to share. You're so negative, and you've got to be more positive here. Skeptics already have a bad rap. We have to be more upbeat and fun.
But she's indestructible as well. Let's not forget that.
That's what I've seen actually on TV. The whole point here is a lot of these people are really, really honest. They've just sort of fooled themselves about it, and we can test them. And the point is, later, Connie actually said, gee, I don't know what went wrong here. She came up with kind of an excuse on her own part. And then 2 days later, not even, she was on the web claiming that we had defrauded her and that Banachek had cheated. And we see this all the time. They come in and blame it on us. And the thing is, you had many weeks, sometimes months, more to work out the protocol, to work out how we're going to do this. And we say, look, this is how it's going to work. If James Randi is in the audience, that's not going to affect you, right? And they say yes, and they have to sign something. And yet then they turn around and say, well, Randy was in the audience and his negative vibrations were suppressing my psychic energies. And it's like, well, you know what? Too bad. You can't claim that.
Well,
you can't turn around and say we were defrauded.
From having watched a few of the videos that he's made, he actually requests not to know when the test is taking place. So
and many times Randy won't even go. It just so happened that M7, when we did this live, almost, we had 600 or 700 people in the audience, and it was incredible to watch this because we didn't want people to sneeze or cough or sniffle. We didn't want cell phones to go off. We didn't want anything to go on that could possibly be used by her as an excuse. And I have to tell you something. The closest thing I have ever experienced to paranormal was sitting in a